So hello, welcome back to Deadliest Catch Alaskan Storm. Now, because I have been having problems with the computer, I will not be doing my regular career session. Instead, I will be just taking it easy, doing a simple one, and that way if something goes wrong, it's not going to screw with my regular progress. It'll just mess up a simple, for fun playthrough. Like I said, and I've had it happen before where the computer has shut off on me when I'm an hour or two into playing the game, and then I have to restart everything because the developers of this game did not create an autosave feature. And so, with that being said, I will be getting myself going here. And hopefully you enjoy. And if it does randomly cut out at some point, you will know that it's the computer's fault. So I'm going to go ahead and begin.
Sure. I'll see you on deck.
Congratulations, kid. You just hired yourself the best damn crew member in the entire Bering Sea. Congratulations, kid. You just hired yourself the best damn crew member in the entire Bering Sea. I'm your man.
Let's get it on.
You can't hire a woman on your boat. Don't you know that's really bad luck?
Let's get her done.
You would never have seen a woman on board in my days. Times are changing, I guess. Here, try putting your hands like this instead. That way you don't risk losing a finger.
Thanks, man. Much appreciated.
Yeah, it's frozen. So yeah, it's frozen. Nothing I can do about it. Still frozen. I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll try exiting and restarting. It's not even letting me exit the program. Well, with this being Frozen, it's the Deadliest Catch game. I guess I could discuss the show. At some point, season 19 is going to premiere. I think it's going to be on this April. And for the first time in the show's history and the fishery period, the two main fisheries will be closed. For the second consecutive year, red king crab will be closed. And then for the first time, I believe, since the fishery began in the mid 80s, late 80s, somewhere in there, the opilio crab fishery will be closed. Now, last year we saw Sig went to Norway and fished Norwegian king crab, which to that country is an invasive species, so it doesn't matter the size or the gender of the crab as long as it's, the goal is to wipe it out there because they consider it an invasive species. They don't want it in their waters. Then we saw Josh and Casey doing Pribilof gold crab up around the St. Paul Island, along with Jonathan. And then the new guy on the Patricia Lee, Rip, doing, it's weird, they used to refer to that as brown crab. I don't know why they changed it to gold crab. Because back in season 4, a boat called the Early Dawn did that fishery, and they were referring to it as brown king crab. But that boat is not well designed for that fishery at all. The Early Dawn was a good design boat for it because the house sits forward, and so they were able to have a back door that opens on the stern of the boat, and then all the pots just ran off the stern. Whereas with the Patricia Lee, they have to put the pot on this launcher thing, and then it slides off and around the wheelhouse. Well, that's how that guy got squished last year, and I think the guy that was killed on that boat got squished because of that and died because of it. And supposedly they're doing some improvements to the boat. I don't know anything about it. No, I haven't done any research into it. And then we saw the Brenna A, or no, excuse me, it was not the Brenna A. It was the captain of the Brenna A, Sean Dwyer, but he was running his new boat, the Eleanor J, and they were doing the Dungeness crab fishery, and then Jake was doing sablefish or black cod, and who am I forgetting? Oh, Bill went to Norway. I forgot Bill went to Norway. He had his little piss pot boat. And what is his name? Southern Wind. Harley. They didn't appear until well into the season with the Southern Wind doing the Barradai fishery. And then they were only featured in like 1 or 2 episodes, I think, of the Opilio crab fishery with the Billiken. And I don't know if nothing exciting happened there or he was just finished so fast that they didn't really have enough footage. But it was interesting that he got put on that boat because that was the Billiken is the big boat of Trident Seafood Company. It's like their baby. You're running that boat, you're the best. And over the years, maybe it's just the way that they edit everything together, but Harley has always kind of been portrayed as a bit of a turd. And, not a nice guy. But it was just interesting that they put him back in that boat, which was featured in season 1 with a guy named Jeff Weeks, who at the time was one of the top producing captains for that company and in the whole fishery itself. But he was shown to be struggling, and I believe, I could be wrong on this, but I believe he got fired after that season. The Trident heads were not pleased with his performance, and because later on, I want to say season 9, season 8, somewhere in there, the Cornelia Marie was alongside of the Billiken. They were getting information from the Billiken, and the guy running the Billiken was a deckhand at the time during season 1, and he was filling in for Jeff when Jeff was feeling like he should go out on deck and work. And that guy had run the boat prior to Jeff being put on it. So, and then kind of creating dead airspace here. And then I would assume most of the same boats will be back. And I'm sure that Josh and Casey are going to have their show this year where they're doing the fishing in Hawaii thing, or Louisiana, or wherever they moved it to. And then I'm sure that the Norway thing will happen, and we'll have the Wizard and the Time Bandit and all the guys back. There's not a lot discussed about the former boats of the show. So one of them, just kind of not going to discuss every one of them, but just kind of going to go through. So the Aleutian Ballad got on the show during season 2 after their greenhorn had threatened to jump overboard because he felt that was a safer place for him than instead of being on the boat. So they had to hightail their asses into the beach, drop him off, and they picked up the camera crew. Well, on the way back out to the grounds, the boat got broadsided by a rogue wave, knocked out a bunch of glass, knocked out all their electronics, flung the crew around, and that basically was their claim to fame. And they were in a couple episodes of season 3, and then they just kind of were written off. And that boat has since been turned into a tourism type thingy where you can go pay so much money and have the quote-unquote Deadliest Catch crew experience where you get to launch a pot, you get to throw the hook, and you get to do all the stuff. But, that's an interesting way for that one to go. And then there was the Urla N. The Urla N was featured in the very, very, very beginning of the show. Before it was even called Deadliest Catch. It was called America's Deadliest Season. And it was a 3 episode miniseries where they followed Sig on the Northwestern for King Crab, Bing Henkel on the Urla N, and I'm blanking. Was it the sock? No, it was the oh my God, he's in this game. Larry Hendricks and the Sea Star. They were the original boats of Deadliest Catch. And then for the Opelio season, they stuck with the Urla N. And then they instead went on board the Arctic Dawn with Ole Helgevold, and Ole was working with Jake for a while, kind of training him how to run the boat. And then the Saga with its original captain, Roger Strong. I think I just repeated myself there. If I did, I apologize. I'm doing this off the hand because my whole plan here has since fallen apart. But anyway, the Arctic Dawn, that boat caught fire about 10, 12 years ago sitting in Seattle. I have no idea what ever happened to it. I have tried to find stuff. I'm going to assume that it got scrapped. The whole house was toasted and everything, and so yeah, that one was a loss. And then of course the Saga. Jake now owns part of that, and it's his boat. But the Erla N is actually part of the group that the Patricia Lee is involved in, that company. And it does the golden brown king crab down there on the islands. And then, let's see, the Kodiak. Last I heard of the Kodiak, which was Wild Bill's first boat, former Cornelia Marie engineer Murray Gamrath was running it. Now, I don't know. I've, again, tried to find any sort of information, but there's not really anything. But Murray, I think, had always wanted to run a boat, and that's why he left the Cornelia Marie in the 5th season, was so that he could pursue that opportunity. And the Lucky Lady, which was featured in season 1, is 58 foot. It was a purse seiner that was converted into a crab boat. That one has since undergone a name change and is now known as the Trinity, and it's actually for sale. The Lisa Marie, which was featured in season 5, is no longer, well, it is a crab fishing boat, but it is no longer a Bering Sea crab fishing boat. It is a multi-purpose fishery boat. The guy who owns it has it rigged for salmon fishing, crab fishing, tuna fishing. They used to sardine fish before that fishery was put on hiatus. And I think that there's a couple others. I cannot remember exactly. And then the Western Viking, featured in season 1, that one was a pile of junk. Quote unquote, a floating turd, as it had nothing but problems, and the crew was crabby, the guy was kind of a dick, everybody was just jerky on that boat. And that one, when the 2005 buyback program occurred, that was one of the boats that was involved in that, meaning basically the state of Alaska bought the boat, bought the permits, and due to some weirdness involving it, I'm not an expert on that kind of stuff, but the boat is no longer, along with the other 24, is not allowed to do any sort of fishing anywhere in the world. It is, I mean, I don't even think it can't be used for charter fishing. I don't even know if it can be used for research purposes. Actually, I think it can be used for research purposes, but in fact, that might be what it is used for. Then there was a boat called the Vixen. Now, the Vixen was supposed to be featured in Opelio season 1, but it only was shown in Europe. And only once have I ever seen an episode with it in it, and it was, for some reason, one of my local channels was airing the show, and they were airing the European versions, because I remember sitting there watching it and thinking, I don't recognize this boat. Wait a minute, yes I do. It was listed in the crab count chart once, but they never showed it in the United States. And as far as I know, that one is still doing its thing. But what was I... Oh yes, the back to the buyback. One of the boats that was a buyback vessel actually got turned into a floating strip club, and there was all kinds of issues with that one. Yeah, it was a... I think there were... the FV Wild Alaskan is what it was called. And they had built a superstructure on the back of it, and At one time, I remember seeing it for sale. I don't know. I don't think it's been for sale for a few years now, but I do remember looking at it, thinking, "Oh, that's kind of nice." You could, if you had the money, you could afford that and live on it pretty comfortably. But yeah, I think that the guy who owned the boat was doing some shady stuff on it, and let's see, waste disposal was one thing that they were accused of. Pollution charges. For some reason, that's not what I thought it was, but yeah, he was dumping. Hold on, I'm reading the. Yeah, he was basically he was pumping shit over the side of the boat, and that's a big no-no. I mean, there are people who are big enough pieces of crap in this world that do that, but you really have to be a piece of garbage person to do that. Now, if something happens accidental, that's one thing. But if you're deliberately doing it, then you're truly a horrid human being. Now, I think it's 25 miles away from shore, I believe. Dumping is deemed okay, which to me that's disgusting, and partly why I will not go swimming in the water. But the only thing that is absolutely a no-no, no matter what, is discharge of petroleum, oil, fuel, that kind of stuff. But the fact that people are such garbage and so lazy that they can't look up on their phone where a pump out place is and go and do it. It's just disgusting, and it's wrong. I'm getting way off topic here. This stupid freaking game is still frozen. Just fantastic. I mean, it is just wonderful. I mean, nothing. I am sitting here clicking exit, and it will not exit. I can click on other stuff. I can bring other windows up, but it refuses to exit the game. It's driving me nuts. Yeah, this is I'm not an expert on computers, so I'm not exactly sure why this thing's doing what it's doing, but yeah. This is what happens when you're not a high dollar, streaming personality and whatnot. So, yeah, what I had planned to do with this, just a nice, easy little video. Just go out, set some pots, pull some crab, call it a day. Nope. Apparently that's too difficult. Just makes you wanna, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm infuriated. I'm not a happy camper. And last week when I tried to do the 18 Wheels of Steel game, that was bugging out, and I figured, oh well, maybe it's the game. I'll try. I figured today I'd try this. And when I did a test run without all the streaming stuff going, so maybe it has to do with OBS, which OBS has done nothing but piss me off consistently in so many ways. So many ways has this game program pissed me off. I had the game going and it was running fine. And so I figured, oh, well, maybe I'm in the clear. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Yeah, no. No. I'm disgusted. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead and stop my random ramblings here. And I've eaten up about 45 minutes. So, yeah, tomorrow's going to be a fun one. NASCAR 21 Ignition. The only reason I'm doing that game is because it's got the new Atlanta configuration in it. And in trying to keep up with or make the racing that I do as close to the actual racing as possible, I have to play that absolute garbage pile of a game. And I am not looking forward to it. And Motorsport Games, I've said this before and I shall say it again, you should be absolutely ashamed that you came out with that piece of crap game. I mean, I am embarrassed that I bought it. I mean, I am a die-hard NASCAR fan, and I can put up with a lot, but that game is... They should be embarrassed. That's all I can say. And then they're supposed to be coming out with an update for Heat 5. That's a 2020... It's going to be a 2022 update. Well, we're 3 months into 2023. We're 4 races into the 2023 season. Just make it a 2023 update. Yeah, so until next time, happy trails.